guilty plea conviction will affect your immigration status and will result in or use a firearm in a crime, you will be guilty of a felony which may carry a sentence of 1 to 15 years in prison.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you waive any and all offenses, including any mental health offenses, by entering a plea of guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you went to trial, you have the right to a trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and confront witnesses called to testify against you, and the right to testify to remain silent and not incriminate yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you are giving up the following rights, and after each right, I want you to answer if you understand that, okay?
Yes.
First, the right to a trial by jury.
Yes.
Next, the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
The right counsel hired by you or to court-appointed counsel if you cannot afford an attorney at the trial of your case.
Yes, ma'am.
The right to the presumption of innocence.
Yes, ma'am.
The right to testify on your own behalf and to present other evidence.
Yes, ma'am.
It is your decision to waive these rights and enter a guilty plea because you're in fact guilty.
Yes, ma'am.
With respect to indictment 22 SC 183-572, where you're charged with count 1, conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, count 47, conspiracy to commit a crime, count 48, participation in criminal street gang activity, and count 55, conspiracy to commit a crime. How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with a full knowledge of the charges against you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you have only a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you have 4 years from today's date for the felony charges to file a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness of this guilty plea?
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor, if this case were to go to trial, the state would expect to show and prove that between January 24th of 2013 and May 8th of 2022, that the enterprise known did unlawfully conspire to acquire and maintain and control of the United States currency and other personal property through a pattern of racketeering activity, and also, while members were associated with that enterprise, did unlawfully conspire to conduct and participate in directly in racketeering activity as described in our indictment, Your Honor. Associates of the enterprise, YSL, or Young Slime Life, they did conspire to associate together with others for the common purposes of illegally obtaining money and property through a pattern of racketeering activity and conducting and participating in the enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity. And in furtherance of that conspiracy, the defendants engaged in the activities enumerated within our indictment. Some of the objectives, Your Honor, include but not limited to preserving, protecting, and enhancing the reputation, power, and territory of the enterprise through acts of racketeering activity, including murder, assault, and threats of violence. Also preserving, protecting, and enhancing the reputation, power, and territory of the enterprise by the posting of messages, images, videos, and songs demonstrating an allegiance to the enterprise and a willingness to engage in violence on its behalf. And those are just some of the ways in which they try to further the enterprise. Your Honor, the state would expect to show that this YSL started in the late 2012 in the Cleveland Avenue area of Atlanta, Georgia, and that some of the founders of this enterprise was Jeffrey Williams, also known as Young Thug, also known as Slime, Walter Murphy, also known as DK, and Trontavia Stevens, also known as Tick, and also known as Slug. That this group uses a variety of identifiers, including colors, clothing, tattoos, and hand signs, as well as verbal and written identifiers. And Your Honor, specifically, how Mr. Sumlin will contribute to this enterprise is that we have a number of Instagram postings of Mr. Sumlin. The first being, Your Honor, Mr. Sumlin was incarcerated, I believe, between 2014 and 2017. Upon his coming home from prison, we have a picture of him in that video. Excuse me, it was a video. In that video is one of the co-defendants, Jeffrey Williams, and they posted this on social media. and the tag of that was original slime shit, and that was posted and tagged by this defendant, who's also known as Obama. We also have some imagery, Your Honor, also posted on social media with this defendant wearing red clothing with, on that clothing, it has MAXA, which is a play on MAGA, which is Make America Slime Again. And then he also has several tattoos identifying YSL on his body, Your Honor. We also have a couple other postings of this defendant with other members of YSL posted on the internet. Specifically, two of the crimes that he is charged with, Your Honor, in this indictment are actually two telephone calls of individuals who were both housed at the Fulton County Jail. The first phone call was on February 22nd, 2022, Your Honor. And this is a phone call by one of the co-defendants, Christian Effinger. That individual called this defendant asking permission from a person known as Slime, whether or not he would have permission to harm Wyatt Benalucci, also known as Rashard Bennett. Your Honor, that phone call came after Mr. Bennett had already been attacked by other members of the YSL gang in the jail. Your Honor, although Mr. Sumlin did take the phone call and agreed on the phone and Slime, it does not appear that that ever took place. Nothing happened to Mr. Bennett subsequent to that phone call. Second, Your Honor, we have a phone call on April 7th, 2022, where another co-defendant by the name of Cordarius Dorsey also called Mr. Sumlin on a jail call and asked Mr. Sumlin to either rob.
Choose your champions. Every new player who downloads the game will get a free starter pack with everything you need to speed up your progress and catch up to the raid community.
Or kill an individual known as Head. Mr. Dorsey provided Mr. Sumlin with the phone number to kind of set up an armed robbery and whatever would happen after that armed robbery. We later found through investigation that Head was an individual by the name of Harold Bennett. What we learned is there was nothing that happened to Mr. Bennett afterwards. So there was this agreement on the telephone. However, it does not appear that anything happened subsequent to those two telephone calls. Your Honor, those things, the social media posts, in addition to the those two phone calls, is how Mr. Sumlin has furthered the enterprise in this case, and that's what the state would have expected to prove in this case we're going to want to try.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hilton. Mr. Hoover, anything on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor. We just.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Before signing this indictment, did you have the opportunity to fully discuss all of the facts and circumstances therein with your attorney, Mr. Hoover, to your satisfaction?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything about the indictment you wish to ask me or ask any questions about?
No, sir.
All right. I'll note the indictment's been signed and the plea has been entered. Mr. Sumlin, based upon the responses that you've given during the court's inquiry, I find that your guilty plea is freely and voluntarily entered. I find a factual basis for your plea. I'm going to accept your plea as tendered and as negotiated. As it pertains to you in count one, that's conspiracy to violate the Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act. This court will sentence you to 15 years to serve on probation subject to the special conditions that have been set forth on the record already in terms of your plea, and I'll go over some of those with you in just a minute. As it pertains to count 47, conspiracy to commit a crime, murder, this court will sentence you to 15 years to serve on probation subject to the special conditions. Count 48 is participation in criminal street gang activity, YSL. This court will sentence you to 15 years to serve on probation subject to the special conditions already set forth. And on count 55, as it pertains to you, conspiracy to commit a crime, murder, this court will also sentence you to 15 years to serve probation subject to the special conditions therein. All counts 1, 47, 48, and 55 will run concurrently to you. That means that concurrent means they run at the same time, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. As part of your this particular plea in this particular case, you understand that you need to abide in full by each of the terms of your negotiated agreement between you and the state. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
You also understand if you fail to do so, that may constitute a violation of your agreement.
Yes, sir.
You also agree that you'll testify truthfully about any and all matters in regards to this case if you are further asked in any further judicial proceeding stemming from the facts and circumstances in this indictment. However, you reserve your right to assert your Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. You also agree to testify as to the acknowledgments that you have made within the terms of the plea agreement. Is that correct?
Yes,
the factual acknowledgments.
Yes,
Right?
sir.
Okay, all right. And then also you agree not to possess any guns during the term of your sentence unless your rights to do so have been restored. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
You also understand and agree that you shall not commit any criminal acts. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You wouldn't be able to do that as part of the general conditions of probation anyways, right? So, okay, all right. Additional special conditions of your probation are as follows: that you'll be subject to a curfew from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. unless you're otherwise working in school. Situation like yours is that it's for two reasons. One, to protect you and those you better ensure that you'll complete your probation without a hitch. It is empirically established that a lot of crime occurs between about 11 and 4 in the morning. So if you're at home, you got family, you got other things that you are responsible for, it's less likely